Rise and shine. You're watching WCTV Eyewitness News. The Good Morning Show starts now.
Coming up at 6, the Biden administration is canceling student loan debt to the tune of $300 billion. We've got a live report coming up to explain.
Plus, relief could be on the way to those impacted by flooding in Kentucky. We'll outline newly proposed legislation coming up. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday morning.
It is a Thursday.
Friday, Junior.
Yeah, week is galloping right along.
It is.
And we'd like to see this weather forecast shoo away.
Because the rain is...
It's been the same every day. I mean, like, the same.
Right.
Every day.
Gloominess, mugginess, my goodness, every day.
Every day. This weather rut is going to continue, though, sadly. Let's take a look at that forecast quickly. I think the story here today and tomorrow, actually, better chances for more showers in more spots at more times, and that'll play with the temperatures a little bit more. We're at 76 this morning in Tallahassee. Apalachicola is at 77. I see 74 in Bainbridge. I see 72 in Live Oak. That radar picture's been a little active at times this morning. It's not real heavy rain, but I do see a couple of showers on I-10 as you get a little east of Mariana. We've got some showers around Bainbridge. Highway 84 all the way over to Quitman, a little bit wet and dreary this morning too. I've seen a couple of showers move through northern Leon County. A lot of drizzle and mist and light rain, but enough to make that morning commute a little bit slippery, so be careful on the roads. I think these top temperatures today struggle even more than the past few days. We're talking mid-80s, maybe upper 80s. Shower chances on again, off again, on again, off again, on again. I think probably for the next couple of days. I'll break it all down. Full forecast, more muggy and more gloomy and more unsettled. We'll have that in just a few minutes.
We start this 6 o'clock hour in Gaston County. Dexter Lawson could now spend the rest of his life in prison. He's the man accused of ramming a deputy's car and shooting at her last year. Our Stacey Inez has been following this case and has more.
We, the jury, find as follows as to count one of the information. The defendant is guilty of attempted first-degree murder.
After a 3-day trial for Dexter Lawson, he was found guilty of shooting Gadsden County Sheriff's Deputy Shakara Hearns in November 2021.
It's bittersweet. I'm happy that everything is over, but I still have some things that I'm dealing with mentally, but I feel good overall.
Deputy Hearns says this trial was emotional for her. She never saw the man who rammed into her patrol car and shot her that day, until they came face to face in the courtroom this week.
I've never seen him, never heard his voice, so I was trying to keep myself because I kind of almost passed out a little bit, honestly. So it was hard, very hard for me.
Lawson acted as his own attorney during the trial. He argued Wednesday that the incident was not premeditated.
This is a dumb situation that I put myself in. Like, how you gonna be able to prove that I tried to kill her and it was just something that happened? How you gonna be able to prove that I wasn't trying to flee?
He also claimed he was off his medication at the time and issued Deputy Hearns an apology while cross-examining her.
I was shocked, very shocked. I didn't know how to receive it, honestly, but I just hope that eventually he gets the help that he needs.
Deputy Hearns says the guilty verdict provided a sense of closure, and she's hoping to continue moving forward.
I like patrol. You know, I'm not gonna let this stop me from wanting to protect and serve out in the field. Like, no, this is not gonna stop me at all.
Deputy Hearns is working in the court as a bailiff right now, but as you just heard her say, this will not stop her from getting back out into the field.
All right, new this morning, this woman, 42-year-old Wendy Carlton, now facing 2 charges for allegedly having a sexual relationship with a student. Carlton, a former teacher's aide at Taylor County Private School, having the charges brought against her after a student alleged she was fired from the school because of the inappropriate relationship. Now, after an investigation, deputies finding out she possibly had more inappropriate relationships dating back to 2017. She is now out of jail on a $5,000 bond. A school official at Point of Grace Christian School talking to WCTV in the condition of anonymity, saying that that's where she worked until 2018 when she was fired. The official saying TCSO told them about the allegations and their school is cooperating.
6:04 now. The sentencing hearing for the confessed Parkland school shooter continuing yesterday. Jurors hearing details about Nicholas Cruz's childhood. Maricela Burgos breaks down the latest details.
More testimony Wednesday describing a dark past behind a child's smile.
He did not have the boyhood image. You could look at him and you can see something's not right, something's off.
Steven Schussler used to live across the street from Nicholas Cruz when he was a kid and testified he knew something wasn't right the first time he met him.
This boy did not go bad. He was never right.
He even demonstrated the time he says he saw Cruz running around the front yard waving a gun. It was a full day of testimony. On Wednesday, Dr. Frederick Kravitz took the stand describing his interaction with Cruz.
Well, Nicholas was a very peculiar little child. He was 8. He probably acted like he was maybe 6 at the most. I was aware of the fact Mom had mentioned that he'd been even more problematic as a little child.
The jury will decide whether to sentence the confessed Parkland shooter to life in prison or the death penalty.
Do you now realize that you were just one of many therapists, doctors, counselors, teachers, and a parent who tried to get the defendant help?
Yes.
Now, developing this morning, an investigation is underway after a prank 911 call sends police swarming to the home of Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Police in Rome, Georgia, saying they got a call claiming someone was shot multiple times at her home. Officers rushed there and then discovered it was a false alarm. Police are now calling this swatting. It's usually a targeted attack meant to harass someone.
My daughter came out and we were both alarmed. So it was very frightening. The fact that we're at that place in this country is terrifying. Whether it's left or right, it should never be that way. And we have to make sure that people are prosecuted. You know, they're arrested and prosecuted so that these things don't happen.
Police say 911 did get a second call, that call criticizing Greene's political view on transgender youth rights. No more information on the person responsible is released. And in some other news, Kentucky's governor touting new state legislation targeting areas hard hit by recent severe floods. Now, you may remember at least 39 people dying in the flooding that tore through the eastern part of the state last month. Thousands left without homes, businesses and schools destroyed. Wednesday, Governor Andy Beshear saying that Eastern Kentucky flood relief legislation provides relief to those flood-ravaged communities. The package sends millions of dollars to areas named in the presidential declaration of major disaster.
Meanwhile, in Mississippi, a flash flood emergency unleashing life-threatening conditions some say they haven't seen since Hurricane Katrina. Cole Higgins has the latest.
I haven't seen it come up like this quick.
An emergency evacuation at a nursing home just outside of Jackson, Mississippi, triggered by rapidly rising floodwaters.
The water came up, residents were flooded in.
We got everybody out, and that's the most important thing. Yeah. So everybody's safe. We got all the staff and the residents out. We can replace the stuff, but the people are out, so that's a good thing.
Rising waters turning roads into rivers across parts of the state.
These people go to drive through these low-lying areas. It may not be up into a home yet, but the wave that you create, you may have just created tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage to these people's home, needlessly.
Fast-moving floodwaters have destroyed a large chunk of the highway in Newton County, and saturated ground under train tracks giving way, causing cars full of carbon dioxide to roll off the rails and into a 20-foot ditch.
Our cars are damaged, houses are damaged, and everything. We had to pack up, get out the house. The rescue team came and put us on the boat.
Now, emergency officials warned the threat from heavy, relentless rains is far from over.
We've still got a tremendous amount of rain to go. I was talking with the National Weather Service before I came up here this morning, and he said even tomorrow we could have 2 to 4 more inches on top of what we had today.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
All right, Rob, so before you get into your forecast, can you explain what a flash flood emergency is?
Yeah, that's probably the most severe case when you have flash flooding. Any kind of flash flooding is dangerous. We issue a flash flood watch when it feels like or sounds like, or the forecast provides for quite a bit of rain in a short period of time, and the conditions are right to get that flash flooding. And that's what flash flooding is, a whole bunch of rain in a short period of time that makes it very difficult to pass the roads or to just have that water get soaked up by the ground. Now, we go from a watch to a warning when there are floods already present. And then you take that the next step farther and you get to the flash flood emergency. And that's when not only is flooding happening, but now there's damages and threats to life and property. So that is really top of the food chain bad news when it comes to rain and flooding. When you get to the flash flood emergency level, flash flood warnings, they happen around here frequently in the summertime with some of those afternoon showers and storms, and we don't mess around with those either. That's when we start to remind people that if it looks like there may be too much water on the roadway to drive through, there probably is. You need to find another path. Well, that, when you get to the flash flood emergency, it's even more dangerous than just the flash flood warning. None of that around here for us, although I do think showers are going to be a big part of the forecast. We're expecting lots of humidity today, lots of clouds, and that'll keep the temperatures down. Most of us probably the mid-80s. I do see some showers already this morning. Most of it is real light, more drizzle and mist than actual rain. But in some areas, like coming out of Jackson County into parts of Gadsden, we've got maybe a little bit more of a moderate rain falling down in a couple of spots. I do see along Highway 84 more than just a little light rain or drizzle too. So we've got a couple of locations getting a little bit more rain. The overall setup is not going to change for several days, and that's a lot of clouds, a lot of humidity, and that constant threat for showers. Now, most of the numbers this morning between 72 and 77. Tallahassee's at 76, Valdosta we're at 75, Bainbridge we're at 74. I'm going to leave the rain chances really high for the next couple of days. That doesn't mean it rains everywhere, doesn't mean it rains 80% of the time. It just means that during these time frames, you got an 8 in 10 chance to get wet. And that's a pretty good chance. I think that's the case for today, for tomorrow. Hopefully we can start to lower those rain chances as we head into the weekend, but I do not think we're going to lower the cloud cover or the humidity anytime soon, and that will make it so it's harder for the temperatures to climb into the 90s, but it's still going to be icky, sticky, gross outside, and it is going to look very threatening out there on and off throughout the next several days.
All right, it's 6:12, and we're just getting started on this hour of the Good Morning Show. Still to come, President Biden has unveiled a plan to forgive student loan debt for some 40 million Americans. Coming up, more on who will qualify and how much debt will be erased. Plus,
a California jury awards $16 million to Kobe Bryant's widow, Vanessa Bryant. I'm Bradley Blackburn with why they agreed LA County employees violated her right to privacy.
don't go anywhere. Rob's back with his tropical thoughts after this 2-minute break.